To talk a bit more about this with me and what's in the bill, I'm joined on the set by Arno Pedram from Info Migrant, that's our partner website that's filled with lots of information for migrants and very useful things as well. Arno, welcome on the set. The government wants to create temporary work permits for undocumented migrants in what it's calling strained industries. What does that mean exactly?
Yes, so before anything, it's important to remember that this is a bill, not the law, so everything is tentative and everything could still change. So that new proposal of a visa would be for undocumented workers in strained industries. So that's industries that are experiencing labor shortages. And often to remedy that, they hire undocumented workers a lot. So this is the industries where you find the most undocumented workers, industries such as construction, restaurants, cleaning, security. And so this visa would make it so that if you've worked for the past 8 months in France and lived for the past 3 years in France, you can apply to get a 1-year visa. This is a measure that's very welcome by unions and rights groups, and it's something that they've been demanding for a while. But one thing that they point to is that there's a bit of a paradox in the way the law currently exists for these type of visas and the way this is going to be formalized with that bill. Basically, to get that visa, you have to prove that you've been working for 8 months undocumented. That means working illegally. And to do so, you need to go to your employer and say, hey, can you give me the pay slips for the past 8 months where I've been working illegally for you? Which means that the employer would be like self-incriminating themselves. And there's a lot of sanctions that are against that. And the bill is actually planning to increase sanctions for employers who are making people work illegally. So that paradox comes as a bit of a problem for rights group.
The bill would also make deportation easier. It would toughen certain immigration procedures. Which ones exactly?
Yeah, so basically to understand a little bit the context, in France, when you're not a citizen, you're protected from deportation if you've lived here since you've been a kid, if you have family, if you have kids, if you have basically strong attachments, or if you have a disease that's really difficult to cure. These are some of the reasons that could make it difficult or impossible for the state to deport you. And because of that, the government wants to implement a new criteria called basically, if you are deemed to pose a threat to the public order, you can, they want to strip away those protections. So that's very worrying. So we're thinking about things such as going against the Republic's value. That's how they talk about it. So things such as gender equality, sexual freedom, and going after the symbols of the Republic. That's very worrying for rights group because the idea of a threat to public order is very vague. It's not a legal term. It doesn't exist in French law. And so they're worried that this would leave too much discretion for officials to decide who gets to get stripped away from their families potentially and their attachments to France.
Okay, so this new immigration bill, which just to remind everyone is the 29th since 1980, is being presented to the French cabinet today. Where does it go from here?
Yes, so it's still a bill, not the law. And so they're presenting it to the cabinet. It's going next to the legislature, so the Senate and the National Assembly. In both of those houses, the government needs the support of the right-wing party to get that bill through. And the right-wing party has already said that they were opposing what was planned for the work visas. They don't want more work permits going to undocumented workers. And the government has responded to that worry, saying that they were open to discussing the idea of quotas for those work permits. So we still have to wait and see and be patient. And you can read more about that on our website. To see how the law is going to evolve through parliamentary debates.
All right, great. Thank you for that, Arno. Arno Pedram from Info Migrant, which is our partner website. And you can follow the very latest on this bill as it develops on that website. It's infomigrant.net/EN. Arno, thanks again.